I like
here.
your.
Welcome, everyone, to Wisdom Wednesday, the first Wednesday of this February 2020. Wonderful. Today, we have Paul Temple from RadianceMatrix and the Diamond Light Network. So grateful to have this brother here as we speak about cultivating our intuition. So, Paul, would you like to introduce yourself a little further and tell us what you do in the world?
Well, thank you. Yes, happy to. So happy to be here. Thank you to Anistara and to Bree, who's turning the knobs in the background there. Yes, my name is Paul Temple. I live in Boulder, Colorado. And, I think my main connection with intuition right now is through a project called Diamond Light Network. It's a body of knowledge that kind of came to me through my own higher guidance, I guess kind of channeled, depending what language you want to use, but through my own intuitive development, this body of work began to come through me. And the Diamond Light Network, its main mission is to remind people, both individually and collectively, of the great power of the human heart. And, the heart, I'm not talking about the physical heart. I'm talking about that energy center that is the place of love, of truth. And it's really a doorway. It's our connection into the spirit realms and the multidimensional realms. And we've forgotten about the heart. And then we've actually it's been repressed in Western culture for many centuries. That's a whole other history. But it's now a time for us to remember the great power of our hearts. They're very real. They have skills that come along with awakening of the heart. One of which is the development of intuitive awareness, telepathic skills, sensitivities to subtle energy. But on the larger level, the awakening of the heart will help us as a species, as humanity, to create a more peaceful, collaborative, enlightened civilization on Earth. And because it's through the repression of the heart and through our losing connection with our hearts that we have become so, dysfunctional and violent. And we've been through a very dark period over the last, 2,000 years, really. And are beginning just to wake up and remember who we are as universal beings, as light beings, as amazing beings with capabilities that are not really within our current construct of normality. So
I love that.
That's
one
a mouthful right there.
No, it's great. One of my favorite phrases or something that really is so potent is we are all rainbow fractals of the same one diamond light. And so when I saw your Diamond Light Network and Brielle introduced it to me, I was like, wow, this is so resonant, so aligned. So can you tell us a little bit more about the Diamond Light Network and that project specifically?
Yeah, so the diamond light, the phrase the diamond light is a translation from the Tibetan, the Vajra.
Yes.
I've been a student of Tibetan Buddhism, Vajrayana practice for many, many years. And these are practices, the Vajrayana practices are, ancient Himalayan teachings that are about awakening that pure essential nature that is in our hearts. And they call it the Vajra, or that pure light, diamond light. The mantra Om Mani Padme Hum means the jewel in the lotus. And the jewel is that diamond radiance. So these teachings that have come through, they're not Vajrayana practices. They're kind of rooted and based in the understanding of Vajrayana practices. But they are teachings for people now to begin to remember the light in their hearts. And, it doesn't take much, because our hearts are there waiting and wanting to be connected with. And as soon as one makes that connection and shift, your whole understanding and perspective of life and who we are as souls on earth begins to change. So the Diamond Light Network offers programs, teachings, meditations, sound work. I do a lot of work through sound, so it's not mental and verbal, but it's non-verbal vibrational teaching. And we might sample some of that a little later in our session here.
Yes. Yes.
But it's about wakening up that diamond light, just that pure, radiant essence that everyone has in their heart center.
Wonderful. I love that. Thank you for doing this work in the world. And I don't even want to call it work. It's a gift, right? We're sharing our gifts, and when you're sharing your gift and you're in your bliss, it's enjoyable. It's a pleasure. It's not work at all, So
and when that work is connecting into the infinite grid work, what we call, the Tibetans call it the jeweled fabric of the universe, of which every heart is an integral part. So when my work is dropping into that grid and transmitting and connecting, it's just like, woo, I get to hang out in the bliss zone.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And the way that we discuss it or have discussed it thus far in 1111 Unify is really, it's the divine matrix. It's that unified field that connects us all. And as we go further into understanding quantum physics and all of that we are all connected energetically and biologically, electromagnetically, frequency wise. And so I love that your work is through frequency and vibration. And I'm looking forward to hearing that sonic offering later during this time together. And so today we're talking about cultivating our intuition, right? And so everybody has their own idea of what intuition is. They have their own experience of what intuition is. And I'm curious, you have this very sweet and unique experience and how can I say, I don't want to say definition, but understanding of intuition. We talked about a little bit a few days ago, and I would love for you to share what that is. Let us know what you think.
Well, first of all, to give some context, within the Diamond Light Network teachings, we have what are called evolutionary skills. And these are skills that awaken as one begins to develop and activate one's heart center. And I call them evolutionary skills because I've been told that they're part of the rubric of the next phase of human evolution, so that humans can evolve and develop these skills. And those skills include intuition, telepathic communication, sensitivity to subtle energies, healing energies, empathy is one of those. And I've also found that by working to begin to develop those skills, the heart begins to activate, because the heart is more than just sort of this love puddle, It is a bright beacon that is connected into our higher guidance on several dimensional portals, so that it helps us expand our awareness of who we are, how our mind works, how our consciousness is aware. So those are evolutionary skills is the general term. In the Vedas, these skills are called siddhis, siddhis. And they are, in that old model of the Vedas, they were attainments of the master. So as one developed through yoga practice and Vajrayana practice and whatever discipline one was in, certain siddhis began to appear, such as telepathic awareness, intuitive communication, energy sensitivity, that can extend into out-of-body experience, flying, all kinds of things. But right now we're just working within a fairly narrow rubric. I have to be careful of not lapsing into fantasy, but saying what is real for humans at the level of consciousness we're at right now. So what works and what is engageable with where we are. So at some point, humans might be able to fly and send lightning out through their hands. But right now, we're just starting very basic skills. And then intuition. So intuition, telepathy, these phrases are used a lot to convey generally what I call etheric communication. And intuition and telepathy are actually different forms of etheric communication, but it is communication that happens through that grid work, through the vibrational field. So intuition, and there are 3 levels. And, I was an avid reader of the Alice Bailey materials for many years, and she has a wonderful book called Telepathy that it was published in like 1945 or something like that. Still very useful information to understand this. And she says that there are 3 modes of telepathic communication. There's solar plexus, which we call kind of gut instinct. That's, I feel danger, something's happening, what's going on? I feel a shift in the field. And then there is heart-centered telepathic communication, which is mostly what I work with, since we're working with the heart field. And then there's third eye, which tends to be more mental, visual, activating the mental spheres more. And we all have part of the learning of these skills is translating these sensations into our own mental awareness. So, the gut instinct is something that is kind of like, we feel, that doesn't feel safe. That feels good. This feels nice. And you learned to perceive. So learning to perceive is one of the first skills of what's just my normal kind of, brain looping around, synaptic activity, and what's actually being perceived as, this is an incoming energy. Where is it coming from? Why is it coming? What is it telling me? And then being able to translate it in our conscious awareness. Okay. This is the person next door having a fit. Okay. They're upset about something, and I'm feeling that in my solar plexus. Or somebody's angry at me. Somebody on the other side of the planet can get angry at me, and I'll go, oh my God, what's going on? And so I call them, what's going on? So it's not about distance. The heart-centered, which is the practice that I work with the most, is about opening channels with your own higher consciousness. And sometimes we call these guides. And as I have opened my conversation with my guides, I have a guide named Althor. And I say, well, am I Althor? And you are Althor, and you are not Althor. Oh, great. That's really helpful. So they're part of me, but they're not me. I am not Althor. I'm Paul Temple. But somewhere up there, in this construct, there are these beings that give me information that are part of me. And the more that I've done healing and integration work, the more that, they are integrated into my ongoing consciousness. So one of our first exercises in intuitive development, intuition being connecting with your own guidance and awareness, which is different than telepathy. Telepathy is intentional communication with other beings through the etheric plane, sending and receiving. And our kind of introductory work with telepathic communication starts working with plants, because you can send to plants, you can receive from plants. They love to talk, actually. They're very talkative. And, whereas intuitive guidance is moving more this way, up this channel, and is about learning to hear the voice of your own higher guidance. And again, there's a learning of differentiation. What's my brain spinning? What's actually, there's a new piece of information. And then learning how you perceive, because everyone perceives different. Some people are clairvoyant, meaning that they see things, they see energy. Some people have clairaudience, meaning that they hear the voices. There's a phenomenon called just spontaneous knowing, which means the information just kind of gets channeled into your brain and you just know it. That's more the mode that I work with. And I've learned to differentiate again. What is, okay, oh, there's that. Thank you. Good information, new information, as opposed to, that's just my brain running loops because my father thought I was not competent enough. And oh my God, well, I do, what's going on here? It's like, So,
Yeah.
That's probably a good overview of the different channels, thoughts, comments, questions.
It's wonderful. I love it. Yeah. And, I find that there's different beliefs and understandings of how many senses we have. So right now in the 3D matrix, a lot of people are experiencing 5 senses, 6 senses, maybe 7. And as we grow and as we awaken, as we remember our connection to the one, we have more capabilities open up to us. Right. So people get to experience more intuition or telepathy or whatever. And so we can actually learn how to cultivate these evolutionary capabilities. And so one of the things that I'm curious about is there a specific practice? I know that you create music and sound healing. Is there a specific practice that you find is helpful to cultivate intuition, to really tap into that? I know that you said you have that information that's coming, you have this other information that comes in, and you process it and you begin to understand it, or you have instant understanding, which happens for me a lot, instant knowing. But I find that, for instance, when I spoke with Jonathan Berry last week, he really talked about meditation. He calls quantum meditation specifically is his favored practice. And so as a musician, does yours involve frequency and music and all of this? To really tap into your intuition, your inner knowing. I mean, because one of the things that really comes up for me is, yes, we have, I believe we have our guides, we have our angels, ascendant masters, and those ancestors that are guiding and assisting us. And we also have our own higher self voice, or as we move into what's called our authentic self. And the more that we come from our heart center and from love and compassion and empathy, because we're feeling that connection with others, we become more compassionate. We become more empathizing with others. We actually tap into the subtle energies that we experience that come in. And it's like, for instance, I had this intuitive hit while I was in ceremony with friends. Well, this was several years ago. And there's a glass vase on the wall. And I said, we should probably pull that down. I can see somebody bumping into it. No more than 5 minutes later, somebody hit the wall and the glass fell to the ground. And so getting that intuitive hit, if you don't act upon it, then it's almost like the universe guided you to a specific moment to take action, and then you don't act on it. It's like, oh, I should have followed my intuition. And so I've really learned to just listen to it and really be guided by it. And so how do you cultivate it, and how are you guided by it?
Well, there are exercises that we do. I mean, I love your description of, developing compassion that expands those awarenesses, because it's the same thing I was saying before, that as we activate the qualities of the heart, these skills innately develop.
Exactly.
So I teach a series of classes in these. In fact, I have one a series starting on Sunday.
Great.
Called Heart Light Magic, that are developing these basic skills of, and for instance, with the intuitive guidance, working with your own guides. It's funny, I was just remembering a few days ago that my initial exposure to higher guidance was that I wrote my thesis in college on the poet William Butler Yeats. And he actually wrote a book called A Vision that describes his entire, what's attributed to be his cosmology of how the universe works. But he didn't actually write it. First of all, his wife wrote it, but more importantly, his wife channeled it. And at the time, it was called automatic writing. And so automatic writing is an exercise that I use a lot. It helped me get started into asking questions, hearing the voice, and differentiating that, oh, this voice is different than my voice. And then I just write. So I say, okay, dear ones, please, I have a question about what's going on here.
Yes.
Please tell me. And I have my book and my pencil there, and I give it a moment of silence, and then I just start writing what comes through. And it's usually a distinctively different voice. They have a lot of common phraseology, like, oh, dear one, we're so happy that you're asking. It's nice to have you here. You are loved and you are cared for. Do not fear. Everything's fine. And they might give me some actually specific information. But sometimes it's just like, no, we're here and it's fine. You're okay. It's going to be good. And we don't want to tell you too much because we don't want to spoil your fun. You know? It makes the human adventure more exciting if you don't know. You mentioned someone who talked about yoga and meditation, or they talked about meditation. For me, I do a lot of yoga, and I find in that shavasana space after yoga, because my mind is so still, it's just a lot of stuff starts to come through. So yes, learning to still the mind, come into silence, be an open vessel is very important.
Yeah.
And that's what the automatic writing does, is you ask the question, you pose it out, and then you stop thinking and just write.
Yep.
And that allows it to come through.
Yeah, I do that often, actually. I have my journal here, and I keep it beside my bed as well, and symbols will come through and all kinds of things. So, you know, I completely agree. I love the automatic writing. Sometimes I'll even write with my left hand, and I'm right hand dominant. It's interesting what comes through when I use the left hand, because it's more symbols than words. And so, yes, the words and the symbols are what come through for me. And I know that you actually work a lot with frequency and sound and music, your Tibetan singing and the crystal bowls. And so I definitely want to dive into that with you soon. One of the things that, one of the things that came up for me when I first heard of your work and Brielle introduced your work to me was that experience of Vajra, because I had recently been working on what is the symbol for our 1111 Mystic Initiation, a program we're going to be launching later this year. And when that symbol came through, I was like, oh, it looks like a dorje, right? Which is literally the strongest tool in the universe. They say it's a weapon, but a weapon against evil or dark energy. And it symbolizes the property of a diamond, indestructibility, and a thunderbolt, irresistible force. Exactly. And so I was like, wow, it's all coming through, and the intuitive hit of like just alignment after alignment and synchronicity after synchronicity.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. So I get this question a lot, because the iconography of the Vajra as a weapon, to me, is something that comes out of the arc mythology of the past 2,000 years, because it was such a dark time where defense and weapons were needed, even just to maintain simple integrity, that as a weapon, it developed that. But it's much more than that, and it's much deeper than that, as that pure essential nature. I do teach a practice called an energy protection practice, using something based on the ancient Vajra shield. But again, I think that's a particular mythology that has come out of a dark time, that we need to, again, remember that under all the protection, under the lotus petals, that it is our essential nature. And it is, it's like the Gayatri light. It's just that pure divine source light. I'm getting to mention one other thing about the intuition work, which is that a big part of developing these skills is to unwind what I call the culture of disbelief. And it goes a little bit back to that essence about the Vajra. We have been through such a dark time. Humanity has barely survived the last 2,000 years of just war and aggression and slavery and abuse. And it's just horribly painful and traumatic. And the light really had to hide. Our hearts had to hide. And, through trauma. And, we look at the burning times where anyone who showed skills of intuition or connection or
magic
was horrifically tortured and burned alive, and so that some of us as souls are coming out of that and beginning to realize that, yes, the shame, the fear, the trauma, even a little more now, it's like ridicule. But there is a very strong culture of disbelief around these extrasensory skills, as you were saying, of how many senses do we have? I don't think they are supernatural. I think they are natural. And I actually believe that they are in our DNA.
Of course.
There are families that carry these gifts very strongly. And I believe that all people can begin to develop them. If we put the focus on developing heart skills as we put on developing mathematical reason now, 20 years of, arithmetic, algebra, calculus, geometry, trigonometry, there's all this stuff that's all about developing our intellect. If we put that kind of focus into awakening our hearts and these extrasensory skills, we would be a very different species of humans.
Oh, yes. And I think that is part of our awakening right now, is people are coming from a more heart-centered place.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. And this is, it's an experience, I feel like, to a certain degree, what we're going through in the world really had to happen for people to have time to go and begin within and really examine in their heart what they desire, what they want, what's around them, spend more time with their family. And so that has put them in a place of wanting to be closer to experiencing from the heart. And it's really magical to see what's happening. And again, speaking to that, getting over the fear and the trauma of not sharing your magic, not sharing your light. I'm reading a book right now called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And it's really about your upper limit problem and how that helps you, or how that has kept you from being in your zone of genius. And so many of us need to move away from our area of competence and into what we're actually here to give and offer to the world. And so, Paul, I would love to take this moment and experience your zone of genius and have a RadianceMatrix moment. Let's do 11 minutes. How does that sound?
Okay.
Yeah, and we don't need to set a timer, but I feel like we have spaciousness right now to experience your sonic offering.
So first, let me say a little bit, and then I'll have to go up there and change the microphone over. But so as you'll hear, this is very Tibetan rooted, and what I have been told is that within this vibration is a transmission of the Vajra light. So I will be doing Vajrayana chanting and working with the bowls. These are not crystal bowls. These are the 7 metal Tibetan Himalayan bowls. And part of their magic is that the very pure vibrational field they create is very similar to the pure Vajra light. So they kind of resonate the heart center. But it's a non-verbal, non-mental experience. So when I get up there, I'll do a little induction. But just that this is a place to begin to feel, to sense. Again, feeling means a lot of different things, as heart means a lot of different things. But a way of perceiving on the subtle levels of what am I receiving?
Mm-hmm.
What is coming through? How do I read this subtle energy?
Mm-hmm.
So for me to go up there, Bree, can you mute me for a moment so I can take my microphone off and move it up there?
Yep, you got it.
Check.
There you go. All right. So as Paul is getting into position to share this with us, I just want to take a moment and invite you to really just drop in. You're welcome to lay down, make yourself comfortable. Take some deep breaths, maybe even close your eyes as we go on this sonic journey with Paul and his RadianceMatrix music. So I personally am sitting up and don't have a little place to lay down right now, but I will lay back. Take some deep breaths in through the nose and out the mouth. Circular breathing, feeling into your heart, feeling your chest expand with every inhale and contract with every exhale. And Brielle, go ahead and unmute him as we stay in our deep breathing. Thank you, Paul.
And just as a final step, I invite you to bring your hands to your heart. Just bringing that breath and awareness, and visualize an orb of light in the center of your chest. That great, almost like a sun or a moon, glowing with light. And that orb of light that is your heart center is connected down to the earth and up into the stars and out in each of the four directions. Just letting yourself sit in this architecture of your heart, plugged in to the matrix of light. diamond light in my heart, shining bright from the stars, bright and clean, free from fear, clear and strong, full of song. I am the light, expand the light, I am the light, expand the light, I am the light, Namaste, namaste.
Aho mitakuyasa. Wow. That was beautiful. Truly feel light code activations. that continuous rippling vibration frequency running through my entire mind, body, spirit. Mm-hmm.
And what that models really nicely is for others who are listening to just observe what you perceive when you're in that deep heart space, because that is the perception of the subtle energies. These are the awarenesses we are seeking to develop, is our perception of, oh wow, what's that? How do I feel when I am grounded into my heart center and connected to the entire universe through the quantum field?
So beautiful, Paul. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have the opportunity to share it. It's important to get it out, and the parallels and commonalities in our work is quite extraordinary. I'm most honored to have this connection, and let's keep on dancing.
Yes, indeed. I look forward to weaving more with you. I would like to learn a little bit more about your Saturday experience. Can you share a little more about what to look forward to this Saturday?
Sure. First, before that, I do a series of free events on Facebook Live every week.
Great.
On Tuesday nights at 7:00 Mountain Time.
Cool.
I do an instruction in the heart circuit meditation, which we did a very brief version of there at the beginning. But you were asking about simple practices to begin to awaken. This is the basic one. So I offer an instruction for that on Tuesday nights at 7 on Facebook Live. This is both connected through the RadianceMatrix Facebook page, which is the music project, and also the Diamond Light Network group. Thank you, Bree. And then Wednesday nights, which is tonight, I do a deep peace transmission. It's also a free Facebook Live event, mostly sound, less talk, kind of like what we did here, just a very brief connection into the circuitry. And then we journey through sound into receiving. And on Sunday evenings, I do a heart calming and clearing practice. That's also at 9:00 on Sundays. The Wednesday night is at 9:00 Mountain Time. The Sunday night is at 9:00 Mountain Time. If you connect with that Facebook group, those are all posted there as links and events and videos. So that's the place to connect.
Wonderful.
The series on Sunday is called Heart Light Magic.
Oh, it's Sunday. Okay.
4 Sundays in a row, 4 Sundays in February, from 2:00 to 5:00 Mountain Time. So that's 1:00 to 4:00 California time. And we will go through the basic heart circuit practice each time, some extensions, some higher levels of the heart circuit practice, getting into the Vajra shield and some outer geometry work. And then each session we'll do a different kind of evolutionary skill practice. So we'll do some automatic writing, connecting with our guides. We'll do some telepathic training. We're going to do some hands-on feeling energy in our bodies. It will be on our own bodies that we'll be working, since we can't work in groups right now. So that's over the 4 there. That's the gist of it. That also, the events and the details are listed on the Diamond Light Network Facebook group, and it's on Zoom, and it's a paid event. It's not super expensive, but there is a donation requested. And
of course,
any other questions? Thank you for asking.
Of course, reciprocity is amazing. I was going to ask your website. Brielle's on it right there, diamondlightnetwork.com. And RadianceMatrix.com as well. I just feel like
I might also just, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. Go ahead, honey.
Oh, I'm reminded in seeing RadianceMatrix, I released a new album yesterday.
Oh, yes.
It's just out and hot on the presses, and it's called Dreaming. It's music for, both to help people sleep and dream, but also for journeying, for going into the vibrational field. It has everything from Debussy to Bach to Bowls to chanting, some Indian ragas. It's a great variety of just deep, beautiful, peaceful, calming music. It's on Spotify and Apple Music and all those places. And there are links on the website, the RadianceMatrix website for that, if people want to go check it out.
Wonderful. Congratulations for launching that. I look forward to hearing it. Yeah. And I just wanted to share during that experience, just I'm a dancer at heart. And so much of my meditation is through movement. And I just really the mudras started coming through and just feeling the movement with the vibration as well. And so I'm so grateful for that experience, Paul. Thank you. And appreciating you, brother.
It's all about those CDs moving in the spine there. Ooh.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Getting that Kundalini energy activated. Well, everyone, so grateful that you have been here to join with us. And as we discussed the topic of intuition and dove into that sonic journey, that experience of RadianceMatrix music. So thank you, Paul, for being here with us today.
Thank you.
And I'm so grateful and really looking forward to seeing how we can weave together more, brother. Yes, indeed.
Things are brewing.
Yes, exactly. My intuition's telling me there's more. All right. Blessed be, family. Thank you for being here on this Wisdom Wednesday. I look forward to seeing you next week. Anistara Ma Ka, Mother of 1111 Unify, signing off. Blessed be. So shall it be.
Thank you.